tell me who this is and what we're looking at here.
All right, this is a photo from our good friend Mache. And let me find, here's the specific post. So, doing portrait in daylight to add some depth, texture, and to build up some space, I used a potted flower.
Very cool. I like this photograph a lot. I like the fact that, yes, you put some layers there in front of us, but where does our eye go? Immediately to the subject. So you're vignetting her. Yeah. There's lots of ways to frame things, and one of the ways of doing that is kind of an oval shaped frame, which is what you've got here. And really one of the purposes of framing has multiple purposes, but one of them is to lead your eye. Another one is to provide some contrast between your subject and the frame. And another one is to put some space there, a feeling of dimension. So you've accomplished all three of those things. Well done. I really like that photograph. Good job.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
This is from our friend Andrew. He had posted recently. This is a part of his ongoing border series. And this was taken at a reenactment for the Columbus raid. Let me find the original. He posted twice, one with color
I
photos
don't even know what
and
the
one with
Columbus
black and
raid
white.
is. What is
This is from the 1916 raid on Columbus, New Mexico by
what?
Pancho Villa. So this is a reenactment
Ah,
of
that's
that.
Pancho Villa. He said, "Hey, man, we're taking back our territory." How funny.
Yep.
Okay,
So this is from the reenactment that they hold
that's
to
cool.
commemorate that raid.
That's cool. Okay, this is a kind of a documentary-ish shot, and it serves a purpose in that regard. Um, there's a lot of different things that I come to mind. How you might want to also enhance this photograph. Um, I would probably recommend a shallower depth of field, so we really focus on Poncho there, because my eye does kind of go all over the place, especially that sign in the background. I'd like to get rid of that. What would happen if you went into like 2.8 and you just had Poncho? We could see these other folks, but we're really, bringing our eye. A lot of photography is about where do you want your viewer's eye to go? And, you have him front and center, so there's no question about it. But I let that whole background just go away. You can, do that you can do that in post production. Dan Milner would frown on me saying that. But, unless this is a documentary or photojournalistic shot, you're more than welcome to do that. Another thing I'd recommend, you're shooting at kind of at eye level. I would recommend a low angle. Yeah, bend down. You know what it'll do is it'll give you a cool, like, this dude is a really big guy, you know? And I don't mean just big physically. I mean, he's willing to storm the United States. Come on. This guy's got some cojones, right? So, angles play a big part in that. If you want to make your subject appear more dominant, get a low angle. A great example of this, Jared, you should bring it up, is Annie Leibovitz's shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger on skis. Let's bring that up if you can find it.
Yeah, I'm bringing that up right now.
And you'll see what I mean, how you could really make this guy be bigger than life. And that's kind of what he is already. So why not go with it? Let's see. Yeah, there he is. Okay.
Let me see if it'll zoom in a bit here.
So Annie did something very interesting. She actually she's below the snow level, if you notice that. See that? See, point out the snow level. She's shooting from below that. She actually had a trench dug out. So she could get down so low that she's below the ground. Now look what that does to him. Imagine now at the same time she's standing up and shooting him eye level. What would that have done? Totally different photograph. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. That's a really good example of a very low angle. Now, you don't have to go to that extreme and have a trench dug to shoot Pancho, but do what sports photographers, let's go back to Pancho here. Do what sports photographers do, which is they bend down on their knee, right? They drop down to one knee to get that low angle. And at a shallow depth of field, I think you get a really amazing photograph. Those are my suggestions. Next time you go out, try those out. And everybody else, listen, as you're listening to this, make sure you're using these tools, because these are good tools. Okay. All right.
And as a note, it's a great way too if you're photographing something that is very well known. We went to Mount Rushmore, and my dad ended up getting onto the ground to get his photo, and everybody was laughing at him, but he showed them on his digital camera what the photos looked like, and then you suddenly had like totally half a dozen people on the ground trying to do the same thing, because they're like, wow, those look so cool and different from everybody else's photos. So it's a great way to add variety that way.
There you go. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Who's
This is from Chris. He was out and about trying to get photographs of some birds, but the lighting was terrible. Then he noticed a collection of birds in the symmetrical branches, and he is so happy with this that he thinks he might take out make some table mats out of this photo, because he's quite pleased with how it turned out.
Okay. Is this an actual negative? I see the edges of the negative, or is that just a frame that you used digitally?
I think it might just be a frame. Only he could fully answer that one.
Okay, so. Yeah. All right. My main suggestion on this would be totally take the contrast out the top. Make it a complete black and white. Yeah. Get rid of that grayish stuff in the background, because that just kind of muddies it up. So that's in your post-processing. If you're going to make a silhouette, go all the way. And that'll make a different looking image, so that you have that white in the back. You just do that by dialing your sliders, in Lightroom. Take your white as far as you can, take your black as far as you can. Give it that dynamic range, and I think that'll make a more interesting photograph. Give that a shot. Maybe put it back in the AYP club and let's see what it looks like. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, that'd be my recommendation.
All right. This is from Amir. This is in Jerusalem at a ultra-Orthodox synagogue during one of their feasts.
That's amazing. I have actually never seen one of those white hats like that.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
He's got a glass of something in his hand, and he's cracking up, or he's singing. He's probably not cracking up, but there's a lot of joy coming from not just him, but some of the other people. My only suggestion: shallow depth of field. Again, let's just concentrate on our guy, and I would also say, drop down also. He's pretty big. Make him bigger. Make him more dominant. So again, why do I say that with both of these? Because it'll just make your eye feast on this guy. We're already got an interesting character. Let's take it up a notch. Let's get even more interest. Drop down, make him appear bigger, which will also, by the way, make that background disappear. That serves two purposes when you drop. That's why sports photographers tend to use that, because they want to clean the background up. And right now you got a lot going on in the background. Drop down on your knee, get that shot, shallower depth of field. It's an interesting photograph. I just think that would raise the interest. And I hope you guys don't mind. Those are my instant thoughts. Try these things out. Just remember, say to yourself when you're out photographing, try a different angle. Try a different angle. Just try it. See what happens. Maybe a high angle would be more interesting. Not in this case, but sometimes it could be. But definitely keep that in your repertoire. So you have also more shots to choose from. That's also really important because sometimes you don't know until you get back. You're in the heat of the moment, but give yourself a lot of variety to work with. Okay, interesting photograph. I like it.
Yeah. Going to something very different. This is an experimental shot Hugo was working on. Doing some experimenting with an intimate scene during my holiday in the Philippines. It was quite difficult to capture the incoming wave at the right position.
Wow. Oh, now I get it.
Yep,
Wow,
that's
it
what he
took me a
was.
minute to get what's going on here. It's sand with a wave. Very
Yep.
cool. I like that. It's definitely, it makes you look at it. It makes your eye draw in and go, what am I looking at here? And photography doesn't have to be, quote, real, right? You can shoot out of focus and get an interesting look. This isn't out of focus, but you're shooting you're really making a leap from, wow, okay, I'm going to show the beach and show the sand and make it all really clear what it is. I had no idea what that was when I was looking at it. I thought it was actually a exposed negative or something, that you just exposed in the sun partially. But I see it now. That's very cool. And that gives you a painting-like feeling. I applaud this. This is good. I like the experimentation that you're doing there. So good one. I have a similar photograph of a wave coming in over some rocks. And it's in one or more of my books. But yeah, that's cool that you're experimenting with that.
All right. We've got, this is from our
You don't
good
even have to
friend-
tell me who that is.
Yeah.
That's Sue, right?
Yep, it's Sue, and she got her first chance to photograph
Wow.
some cougars, taken in
Wow.
difficult conditions, low light last evening, shooting through the branches and twigs at 250 millimeters and heavily cropped. But I was happy to capture these guys.
Wow. Those guys can be really nasty. We have mountain lions where I live, cougars, mountain lions. They can be gnarly. You don't want to mess with them. So good on you, Sue. What was the millimeter lens? 200?
250.
250. Okay, and you cropped it so you're safely behind these guys. What are they looking at? Wow.
That's a good question.
Something up in the tree.
I think it might be whatever this is.
Yeah.
It might be a bird.
I'm not a fan of these guys. I mean, they're beautiful to look at, but we have mostly these guys should be living in the mountains, but they're spotted all the time now in urban areas. Mark Benioff, who has Salesforce, took a photograph, or I think it was on his security cam in San Francisco. There's cougars in San Francisco. I mean, it's kind of wild. Sue, from a recording standpoint, it's, you recorded these cats. I know you're already kind of far away and it's maybe a little difficult, but I'd probably just go with the one on the left and just try to get that little more of a story there going on. There's probably some other gestures or motions. I mean, I know what your photographs of your dogs are like, and deer. I think there's probably a little more you could do with that. Sue's got a note here. After they left, a very large bull elk came walking down the river.
In the river.
Wow. Okay. You live in a beautiful place with a lot of wildlife. Anyway, I would imagine you got some other frames. I just kind of look until some more of a focused story kind of appeared, and just maybe wait around until I don't know what it is. But I feel like there's some more frames there that could turn into a more focused story. But good one. Please subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss any of our new shows. Like the video and please share it and leave your comments. I love hearing from you. And remember to get out and capture your own images of life.